Let me tell you something strange about the shy child. We live in a world that celebrates confidence, loud voices, fast responses, people who raise their hands first and speak without hesitation. Yet some children move through the world differently. They watch before they speak, they feel before they act. And here is the question that quietly follows them into adulthood. Is shyness a flaw to be fixed? Or a language that was never fully understood? It's easy to assume shyness is fear, or weakness, or a lack of social skill, but that's not the full picture. Beneath the surface, there's an entire psychology at play. One that has less to do with insecurity and more to do with sensitivity. Because for some children, the world doesn't feel neutral. It feels loud, unpredictable, overwhelming, and silence becomes a way to stay intact. C. For some people, being quiet is not avoidance, it's regulation. It's how the nervous system stays balanced in environments that demand too much, too fast. The shy child doesn't disappear because they have nothing to say. They step back because they are taking everything in. You can see it early, in classrooms where the shy child knows the answer but waits. In playgrounds where they observe the game before joining. In family gatherings where they stay close to familiar faces. From the outside, it looks like hesitation. But internally, something more complex is happening. Psychologists notice something fascinating. Many shy children score higher in emotional attunement. They read tone, mood, micro-expressions. They sense shifts in energy long before words are spoken. While other children are learning how to assert themselves, the shy child is learning how to perceive. And here's the reframe. It's not about lacking confidence. It's about carrying awareness. Shyness is not emptiness. It's depth before expression. But that depth often comes with a cost, because we live in a culture that rewards visibility, participation, performance. And when a child doesn't fit that mold, they are gently, or sometimes not so gently, nudged to change. Speak up, be bolder, stop hiding, as if quietness itself were a problem. For some, this pressure accumulates slowly, not through a single moment, but through repetition. Being overlooked, interrupted, praised only when they perform extroversion successfully. Over time, the shy child learns an unspoken rule. My natural pace is inconvenient. And here's what's often misunderstood. The shy child is not afraid of people. They are often afraid of being misread, of being too much, or not enough. Of speaking and realizing the room wasn't safe for what they carried. So they adapt. They become agreeable, observant, low maintenance. They learn how to exist without disrupting the environment. From the outside, this looks like maturity, politeness, emotional control. But inside, there is often a question forming quietly. When is it safe to be fully seen? This is where the deeper psychology emerges. Carl Jung spoke about the persona, the mask we wear to meet the world's expectations. For the shy child, that mask often becomes one of invisibility, not because they want to disappear, but because disappearing once kept them safe. The psyche remembers what worked. And here's the paradox. That same sensitivity that made them withdraw is also the source of their creativity, their empathy, their ability to listen deeply. The shy child often grows into the adult who understands nuance, who feels meaning between words, who senses what others miss. But not every shy child finds peace in that role. Some grow up carrying shame for their quietness. They push themselves to perform confidence. They rehearse conversations. They overthink social moments long after they pass. Not because they are broken, but because they learned early that being themselves wasn't enough. Because let's be honest, most of us were taught how to be impressive, not how to be authentic. And in that environment, the shy child doesn't feel celebrated, they feel tolerated. Think about it. When was the last time silence was interpreted as wisdom, not awkwardness? When did stillness become something to trust instead of correct? This is where the existential layer appears. In a world that equates presence with volume, choosing quiet becomes a form of resistance. The shy child doesn't compete for space. They create an inner one. And maybe that's not retreat. Maybe that's preservation. But not all shyness comes from peace. Some of it comes from fear. From moments when expressing emotion led to dismissal, or ridicule, or misunderstanding, and so the child learned to fold inward, to protect what felt fragile. Both truths can exist at once. Shyness can be wisdom, and it can be armor. This is the complexity we often miss. The same behavior can hold different meanings depending on where it was born. Some shy children are simply introverted. Others learned quiet as survival. And the work of adulthood is not to erase shyness, but to understand its origin. When that understanding begins, something shifts. The shy adult stops forcing extroversion as proof of growth. They stop measuring worth by visibility. They begin to ask a gentler question. When am I quiet because I choose to be? And when am I quiet because I don't feel safe to speak? Science supports this distinction. Studies on temperament show that sensitivity is not pathology, it's biology. Highly sensitive nervous systems process information more deeply. They feel more, and when supported, they thrive. When rushed or invalidated, they retreat. Safety changes everything. And when the shy child inside finally feels safe, expression emerges naturally, not loudly, not dramatically, but honestly. Words come with clarity, boundaries form without apology. Presence becomes grounded, not forced. Sometimes this change confuses others. People say you've become distant or different. But what they really noticing is this: you no longer performing comfort for the room. Maybe that's what confidence actually is. Not speaking the most, but speaking when it matters. Not filling silence, but choosing it deliberately. Not shrinking, but knowing your size. There's something sacred in that restraint. Because some voices were never meant to shout. They were meant to resonate. So if you recognize yourself in the shy child, you don't need to fix anything. You don't need to become louder to be worthy. Awareness is already integration. Understanding is already movement. And maybe, just maybe, the shy child was never behind. They were simply walking at a depth the world didn't know how to follow. Because in the end, being quiet doesn't mean being invisible. Sometimes, it means you're listening to something deeper than noise.